Good evening, everyone. I am Bob Hinshaw, Sheriff of Sedgwick County, and I'm here tonight to ask for your vote and your support. Now, you are a large part of the hiring authority. If there's questions being submitted, I hope you ask good questions so that you can cast an informed ballot. I think for the office of Sheriff, it's not a matter, I've known Jeff for a long time, he's known me, we're both cops. I think what you want, though, is the most qualified person, and I think that's based on knowledge, training, experience, and education. Personally, for those of you that don't know me, I was born and raised here in Wichita, attended Wichita Public Schools, then I was heavily involved in the Boy Scouts, even achieving the rank of Eagle. My work experience includes 33 continuous years at the Sedgwick County Sheriff's Office, promoted through the ranks by 3 different sheriffs, and I've served virtually in all areas. I'm also currently the selected chair of the Criminal Justice Coordinating Council by the Board of County Commission. As far as education goes, I have a Bachelor's of Science in Administration of Justice, a Master's in the study of business law from Friends University, but it goes on from there. I'm also a graduate of the FBI National Academy, 10-week program in Quantico, also selected and graduated from the Law Enforcement Executive Development Seminar, also hosted by the FBI in Quantico, and also I was chosen to attend the Secret Service Dignitary Protection Seminar in Washington, D.C. by the Secret Service. In addition to that, I received a lot of specialized training in medical and legal issues dealing with running a modern, state-of-the-art detention facility. Part-time, I am an adjunct professor at Wichita State University, even teaching a graduate level course in critical issues in American jails. I also enjoy teaching, so I do teach our recruits. I teach in-service training. I've even taught at the State Law Enforcement Academy. To date, I have given instruction to over 1,800 law enforcement officers in Kansas. I firmly believe that whoever is going to be your sheriff cannot just be outside looking into the community, but must be actively involved in that community. My involvement includes sitting on the board for Big Brothers and Big Sisters of Sedgwick County, where I was recognized for 2 years in a row as the outstanding board member. I sit on the executive board for the Quivira Council, Boy Scouts of America, where I was the recipient of their first Good Scout Award. Also, in 2011, was recognized as the Outstanding Criminal Justice Professional of the Year by the Wichita Crime Commission. In conclusion, again, just let me say, I think that whoever you select as your nominee for sheriff needs to be the most qualified based on education, experience, and training and education. I believe I am that candidate. Thank you for your time and your support.
Good evening. I am Captain Jeff Easter. I currently work for the Wichita Police Department. I have a wonderful wife named Kimberly who's here tonight. I have 4 children. I've lived in Sedgwick County all my life. I live out in Colwich currently right now. I've lived there since 1976. My career, 23 years with the Wichita Police Department, has been a very fruitful career for me. And in that time frame, I've moved through the ranks of officer, clerk to the rank of captain that I currently hold now. During those time frames, I've been involved in numerous activities, innovative ideas, community policing within the Wichita Police Department. Some of those things have to do with Plainview Activity Camp for Kids, which I initiated in 2001. What that camp did is it gave opportunities to underprivileged kids in the Plainview area to get them more involved in community functions. We saw a 37% reduction in juvenile crime after that camp was installed, and it's still there now. I was then moved to the gang unit, and while at the gang unit, I was chosen to author the Gang Prevention Act of 2006. I'm very proud of that because that wasn't just for Sedgwick County, that was for the whole state of Kansas. So because of the leadership that I provided and working together with numerous entities, that act was passed. As a captain, I am now in charge of Patrol North, approximately 128 employees. I sit on grievances, all the managerial stuff that you expect out of a police commander. One of the reasons why I'm running is that I believe that the Sedgwick County Sheriff's Department has become stagnant in their management style. It has been the same system for the past 20 years. It's gone from sheriff to undersheriff, sheriff to undersheriff. And I think it's time that we take a look at someone new looking at the issues facing the Sheriff's Department and within Sedgwick County itself. And I think I'm that person. There's three issues that I want to talk about tonight, quickly. One of them is jail overcrowding. Jail overcrowding is a major issue within this county. I think it's time to really take a look, not just with the CJCC, but form a committee of business leaders, government people, the Mental Health Association, and those type of entities to really come together and collaboratively come up with a good plan. I don't believe misdemeanor commitments from city judges, those folks should be housed in that county jail for a long period of time. Because what that causes is these other inmates to be shipped out of our county, well then we have to pay for them to live in that jail. I think it's time to really start streamlining services and combining some services. I propose that we combine the narcotics division, the property and evidence division, and the
records.
And I believe it's very important to do that, to streamline those services. Very important. And so with that, I would like to thank you today. And what you'll get with me is I will be responsible for the Sheriff's Department. I will uphold what the Sheriff is supposed to do. And I'll be responsible to the citizens of Sedgwick County. So I appreciate your vote on August 7th.
What can be done not to have to build a new jail?
What I believe that can be done is what I discussed a little bit earlier. I think that we need to reduce that misdemeanor commitment population at the county jail. These are folks that have been there for DUIs or didn't pay their fines, didn't show up for court, those type of things. These are not high-level criminals. They're not felony type people. That's what belongs in the jail. What I'm going to do is look at alternatives for housing those individuals, period. And it could be as easy as getting them into some other facilities where they're locked down at night, more facilities like that, where they're still able to work during the daytime, and on weekends they do community service for here to help pay off their fines. Because jail isn't going to be the answer for that. You know, there is issues with building a new jail. Most people I talk to, where do you want criminals to be at? They tell you in jail. Are you willing to take a 2% increase in your taxes for that? And they say absolutely not. So that's what we're faced with. However, I do believe that if we put together a solid committee of business people, citizens, folks from WIN, folks from neighborhood associations, folks that oppose building a new jail, folks that want to build a new jail, and you get this whole group in there, not just over jail overcrowding, but the whole jail service system. And it needs a review from top to bottom on how we jail here in Wichita, Kansas. And so I think if you put that group together and you look at the issues that are taking place in the jail, we can have a better system that's more efficient and saves taxpayer dollars. Thank you.
Couple points to make on here. The jail, first of all, sort of the way the question is asked, it's being treated as something that's standalone, apart from everything else, and that is absolutely not true. The jail is simply one component of our overall criminal justice system, and it's a very important part of it. But it's not a sheriff problem, it's not a county problem, it's our problem as a community. Who goes into the jail, the biggest impact on the jail is the other players in the criminal justice system. That's why the Criminal Justice Coordinating Council exists. In 2009, our population blossomed to over 1,679 for an average daily population. This morning it was about 1,488. Why? Not because of anything I've done. It's because of what the Criminal Justice Coordinating Council has done. It's not just the stakeholders, it is the policymakers. It's city council, county commissioners, district attorney, everybody that has a stake in the criminal justice system, sitting down, finding out where the flaws are, where we can improve processes, and coming up with an entire continuum of sanctions, which the judges are now using. That's one good alternative. Not just one, but we have Sedgwick County Offender Assessment Program, Mental Health Court, Drug Court, increased day reporting, a whole continuum of sanctions for the judges to use. That's who decides who goes into a jail and who goes someplace else. We need to have those alternatives. We've got a great amount now. It has changed that curve on the amount of inmates, the inmate population growth. So that, to me, is the biggest answer right there. Misdemeanors in jail, some of them belong there. That's the judge's call. We need to give the judges the tools they need to provide those alternatives. Thank you.
How can you correct the current internal behavioral problem issues in the department?
You have to start at the beginning. and that's the hiring process. One of the things for hiring accountability basically boils down to a couple of things. Number one, hiring the best people you can, retaining those people, and providing the training that they need on an ongoing basis. So part of what we do, any law enforcement agency does, starts out with psychological exams, oral interviews, written tests, oral boards, and finally trying to pick the best people you can. But you know something? We're dealing with people. And there are always going to be some people that once they get into the system, for whatever reason that it may be, they're going to violate the rules. And sometimes they violate the law. My job is to hold those people accountable. And that's what we have always done in the sheriff's office, is if we have an allegation, we aggressively investigate it. We take it where the investigation leads us, regardless of where that might be. Sometimes it leads us to charging our own and putting them in jail, and that is exactly what we do. You have an expectation, as the public, to have your law enforcement, the people in uniform, held to a higher standard, because we are supposed to be the role model for that. And when somebody fails, and they will fail, it's happening. I don't think you could find an agency anywhere in the United States that's not had issues of this nature. When they fail, the proof is, do they take action? And that is what we've always done. Thank you.
Currently, as a captain, as a commander of a patrol north, I deal with a lot of discipline issues. You have to deal with those in a fair manner, and you have to deal with them decisively. What my issue is that I believe that it's incumbent upon the commander or the sheriff or the chief of police that they have very good policies set in place on how they deal with certain aspects. If it is a criminal case that the individual is involved in, there are certain steps that you have to go through. One of those first steps is contacting the DA's office immediately to make them aware that you have an officer or a deputy that is looking at a criminal conduct investigation. That is imperative, because they have got to understand that we all entrust the department and the DA's office to conduct those investigations, conduct them fairly, and prosecute folks, whether they're police officers or not, to the fullest extent of the law, period. I believe that by doing that, you also have to involve outside entities. When you have an officer that is charged or looking at being charged with a criminal act, maybe not misdemeanor theft, but felony type charges, absolutely you have to do that. And the reason being is that a lot of citizens believe that the police departments and the sheriff's departments protect their own. If you have an outside agency, and that's your second phone call you make, if you have an outside agency that's involved immediately in that investigation, it takes away that persona that we're trying to cover this up. And so under my management, that is some policy changes that I would make immediately. Is that the first phone call is to the DA's office, the second phone call is to an outside agency to assist with any criminal investigations. It happens when officers are involved in officer-involved shootings. So it should happen when officers are involved in criminal activity.